Are you hearing this? The birds outside are just having, I don't know what kind of conference is going on out there, but it is it's quite intense. There's a lot of very talking over each other and being having some very animated conversation out there amongst the avian population. Um a lot of little cheap noises. What you can hear now is me stirring my tea. And I should probably switch the camera on. Hi, hello. Where? Wait, no. Where's me? Hold up. Am I visible? There. Okay, there I am. Jeez, Louise. I was a little bit worried there. um. Also, apologize. I've had a snuffy nose all day. I better not be coming down with something. I'm gonna be so mad if I've come down with something. I tell you what. That's a big bowl of uncool. if such turns out to be the case, but um, uh, unpleasant experience earlier. I had a snuffy nose and a nosebleed at like all at once, which if you've ever had one or the other, you know they both suck. But when they happen at the same time, it's like, okay, I'm trying to get, my nose to stop bleeding. You're not supposed to blow your nose when you're trying to stop a nosebleed because that's just gonna make it worse. So yeah, that was fun. And now that everyone's left, because that was way too much information, hi everyone who's still here. Welcome in. Turnip, thank you very much for the lurk. And to Bees, welcome in as well. I hope you're having a lovely Thursday. I hope everyone has had a good week as well thus far. I am glad that it's the Thursday part of the week. I'm really looking forward to getting to do my end of week tasks tomorrow. Might be doing some filming. I'm hoping to start a new sewing project. I have some really gorgeous linens sitting here in my sewist's corner, just waiting for me to dive in and make myself a new 18th century wrapping gown. I've made one previously, and there are a few improvements I want to make on the pattern for this next one. That's not to say that the first one is not like super comfy and cute. I basically just want to make it a little bit more voluminous. So I can really just sort of like drape it around me like a big flowy blanket kind of situation. But yes, what was I saying? Oh yeah, my sewist's corner continues to be guarded by this guy and also his beautiful husband. And I thank them for that. They are keeping watch over my linens and having a snuggle. But as for today, we're continuing with this little Terry painting, this little kind of retread of this piece. That is the very first time I ever painted Terry, but making it, sort of a little bit more in like my 2026 general style. You can't see, but I did a little salute. But I just thought it'd be a fun little project to do, sort of 5 years after doing that one, and see where I'm at artistically. Because frankly, I don't know. What I will say is the thermostat's on, and it is making me super sweaty. So I'm gonna go switch it off real quick. I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, it's so hot in here. Oh my god, it was already off. What? Why is it so? What is it? Is it doing that thing? Come on. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. I think it was doing that thing where it like says that it's been switched off, but actually it's still running, which it does sometimes. Cause I don't know, those little plasticky switches are not infallible, apparently. Um, and we have an older boiler that was probably pretty inexpensive when it was installed, so it has a tendency to be a little bit temperamental. And that's okay. As long as it runs and doesn't not run. I'm putting on some hand cream because I need my hands to be nice and flexible and limber in order to you know, adequately hold a paintbrush and stuff. And also just because when the weather gets cold outside and it's hot inside and you're running the heat and stuff and you're taking hot showers and all that jazz, my hands get so dry. And they always have, but I swear it gets worse as you get older. Because, I don't know, your skin... Stupidly, because you still need it, your skin stops producing all of the things that make your skin as, you know, resilient and elastic and comfortable as you want it to be, which is why the skincare industry is such a freaking juggernaut and honestly probably full of a lot of snake oil. Bees says, what is that thing where you come inside from out in the cold and your nose starts immediately dripping and you have to pee? I don't know if there's a name for that phenomenon, but oh boy, that is absolutely a phenomenon. Like, 100%. It is... I usually already have to pee whilst I'm outside, which, incidentally, apparently does make you feel the cold more acutely, probably because the more unpleasant sensory inputs you have to contend with, the less you're able to kind of, you know, contend with all of them. It certainly is the case for me. If there's an annoying sound, and the lights are a little bit too bright, and I have to pee, and it's too cold, I'm gonna notice all of these things so much more than if there was just like one. You know what I mean? But as for the nose thing, I think the cold... I think there is something to be said about the fact that the cold air irritates your airways more. And also there's definitely issues to do with, like, the relative humidity in the air and, you know, sort of between outside and inside and having the heater on and that kind of thing inside the house that also irritates your airways. And can, like, possibly dry them out, which might be why they start to dry. I don't know precisely. I did do a bit of research on all of this gubbins, specifically to do with the idea that, like, going out in the cold when you've got, like, wet hair or when you've just had a bath or something like that, like, you're more susceptible to getting sick. Because, like, supposedly the, you know, that this has been debunked, but actually, there may be some validity to it. I mean, I've certainly experienced being out in the cold and damp and then getting sick. So, I don't know. I'm just saying I think there's more nuance to it. I did a video on soap and hygiene in the 18th century that touches on this. If you're curious, it's on my YouTube channel. That video is mostly about soap, but I go on to some tangents. If you want more tangents about this kind of thing, I can probably dig up my research. But anyways. I think that generally the more uncomfortable your body is, the harder it is to maintain all of your defenses, because the more your body is working harder to be safe and comfortable. But again, I don't have a background in, like, virus and stuff. But I think that the reasons why we're more likely to get sick when it's cold out and that kind of thing are myriad, possibly in part to do with the fact that we're all just spending more time indoors with other people because it's crappy outside, maybe, I don't know. Anyways, being outside in the cold doesn't increase your likelihood to encounter a virus out there, says Bees, but it might mean you're less able to fight any virus you might come across. Yeah, exactly. If I'm already, like, if my body is already just trying to, like, keep itself at a stable temperature and struggling to do that because it's cold as balls, and it's also damp as balls, which is irritating the crap out of my airways, which I know it does because my airways hate breathing in the damp, cold air. Like, I can feel it. And I'm working on that. Possibly, like, my immune system is not going to be working at its best under these circumstances. Combined with the fact that, again, more people are taking the bus because they don't want to walk because the weather's shitty. more people who've come in contact with stuff are coming in contact with you. I think there's a like an interwoven fabric of factors that play into this. Not to mention, I mean, obviously we see a surge in, like, you know, sort of viruses when, for instance, like, school starts at the beginning of the school terms. Because, oh, surprise, people who have been scattered across various places have all convened in a small confined space again. And some of them are going to have brought viruses with them. And those viruses are going to go ping-ponging around the room into various people's, like, airways and stuff. And then those people are going to take those home to their families. And those families are going to take them to their coworkers. It's, I don't know, it's not rocket surgery. Anyways, if you're able to do so, despite the fact that, you know, we've all collectively tried to forget about the fact that, like, a panini happened 6 years ago. Oh my god, how's it been, like, almost 6 years? If you feel like, if you have to go out when you're sick, when you've got, like, symptoms going on and you know that you've come down with something and you have to be out of your house for some reason anyways, like, it's not, unless you are medically unable to do so, you can still wear a mask. Like I do, if I know that I've had a cold and I'm getting over a cold, and I have to leave the house despite the fact that I'm getting over a cold because sadly I live in a society, you know, I don't consider it a major imposition to just, like, mask up on the bus. Regardless if I'm taking a long-ass international flight and going to visit, like, you know, my vulnerable elderly family members, guess what? I'm masking up on the plane. I don't know where these people are from, and I'm breathing in their recycled air for, like, 8 hours. Forget it. No. Also, I don't want to get sick. Also, if I am sick, I don't want to get anybody else sick. Generally, I do try, if at all possible, and I realize that, again, we live in a society where you can't necessarily choose to just be off work for a week because you caught a cold. Because some workplaces will be incredibly punitive about that, and you kind of, you know, like, you won't get paid or whatever, depending on what the legislation is like for worker protections for having colds where you live. I'm always horrified by the hearing about workplaces where, like, it's like, okay, yeah, I can get time off to be sick, but, they take that out of the same pool that, like, my annual leave entitlement is. Therefore, I might not get any holiday this year because I had flu for 2 weeks. Like, respectfully, what the I hate it here. Anyways, that's enough about that. Let's catch up with chat. B says, oh my god, I was at the pharmacy the other day, and this guy was talking to the pharmacist about his prescription antibiotics for whatever sickness he has, and he was leaning way in to talk right to her face. Do you suppose he was wearing a mask? He was not. Of course he was not. Because people don't think. People don't think, and I think that the whole Panini situation was enough of, like, a collectively traumatic situation that people... Oh, shoot, that's the doorbell. One moment, please. Ah! Okay. Woof. Ow! Okie dokie. Well. Ow! I managed. That was quite a large box, and I've just carried it into the other room. I don't know what. For my moderator / spouse, probably something to do with Warhammer. But what was I saying? I forget. Oh yeah, so I was carrying it into the room, and not having the greatest spatial awareness at the best of times, but carrying a large box, I managed to bump the corner of the box into the door frame, which in turn bumped into my shoulder. So now my shoulder hurts. Hurrah! Bea says, pandemic didn't leave enough of an imprint on some folks, apparently. Also, Americans are largely self-centered. Yeah. Yeah. Also, there's a lot of snake oil salespeople out there that for some reason, I don't know, like, you put on a pair of scrubs and you make a TikTok account and people will believe you more than, like, actual peer-reviewed research. I saw one the other day of someone saying that you don't actually need fiber. You don't need to eat fiber, and I'm like, okay, sure. I mean, like, enjoy your colon cancer. Unless you have a specific condition that, like, you know that eating large amounts of fiber is bad for your system, please eat fiber. Like, eat vegetables and beans and, like, brown rice and stuff if you can. Almonds, any of that stuff. Stay healthy. Speaking of fiber, I bought myself a packet of sweets as a treat yesterday. And I'm always curious as to what they give as, like, the serving size or, like, the portion size on a bag of sweets, because obviously the portion size of a bag of sweets is one bag of sweets, right? I did not do that this time because I looked at the stats on the back, and they look like little soda bottles, and they're made by Roundtrees. And one of these little soda bottles contains 0.5 gram of fiber. So the whole bag is like a day's worth of fiber in one sitting. So yeah, unless you want to get, like, some potentially uncomfortable digestive business, I would genuinely not recommend exceeding the recommended serving size of these little soda balls. And I can happily confirm I had the serving size, which contains 3 grams of fiber, which honestly, I'm going to consider it a healthy snack. These little gummy sweets are a health food, yes. Have fun not pooping tonight, says Bees. Oh, God. Yeah. Hello, Rex. Welcome in. Sorry, I'm talking about fiber. I'll stop now. Speaking of roughage, though, let's paint some happy little trees. How was that for a segue? How did I do? Was that good? Was that good? Actually, incidentally, speaking of, I also learned that dark chocolate, is also a source of fiber. So I have shamelessly been enjoying a square of, specifically, they make this, my supermarket makes this dark chocolate with raisins and almonds in it. It's like a fruit and nut, but it's with dark chocolate, so it tastes like grown-up food, but in a good way. And it's my favorite. It's so good. It's so good. And it's got like 2 grams of fiber per square, so I'm doing good things for my digestive system. Tra-la-la. Dark chocolate is superfood, says Bees. Yes, exactly. Exactly, yes. I haven't told this to my moderator / spouse, but I am planning, I think, to make us to recreate our wedding cake, in a manner of speaking, for our wedding anniversary. Namely, we had like a Black Forest style cake. I did a chocolate cake with whipped cream and dark cherries, and I'm going to do that again. But obviously not to the amount that I made for our wedding, because I was serving like 30 people, and this needs to serve 2. So maybe I'll make like, well, I don't have a small cake tin, but I could make 2 cupcakes, or maybe I could just make like 1 layer of a small Victoria sponge tin. I don't know. Rex says serving sizes are a bit lame. 3 Oreos, bro. Who's eating only 3 Oreos when you've got a pack of 100 sitting next to you? I think serving sizes are... The company is doing their best to make it look like their product is as healthy as possible, even when it's not. Serving size does not equal portion size, certainly. It always frustrates me when you get something that's like, serving size, 3 vegan chicken nuggets. And you look in the pack, and the pack contains like 10 vegan chicken nuggets, and you're like, Okay, why is the serving size not divisible by the number of items in the box then? That doesn't make sense. Obviously, I'm going to have 2 portions of 5 chicken nuggies because there's 10 in the box. Like, this is stupid. Anyways, but yeah, also, man, I miss Oreos. Apparently you can get gluten-free Oreos in Canada. They seem to be more expensive, unsurprisingly, but I will be back in Canada in a few months to do family stuff, and I will be availing myself of gluten-free Oreos, because I can. Unfortunately, the gluten-free Kraft Dinner mac and cheese appears to not have the same cheese sauce formulation as the good Canadian Kraft Dinner mac and cheese. So, and I've had the American version of Kraft Dinner mac and cheese, and you can tell it's worse. It doesn't have as much actual cheese in it, and you can tell it's got that like fake cheesiness, which is nasty. So I think I'm gonna have to switch to Amy's organic rice pasta macaroni and white cheddar and hope that it's as good, but it probably won't be because, you know, it's nominally better for you, but it's not really. Hi, Leaky. Welcome in. Welcome, welcome. Hello. That's a good idea, says Rex. I can order a cake from the same place we got the wedding cake and put the topper on it. We still have it. It's a milestone year for us. Congratulations. Congratulations on your forthcoming wedding anniversary. That's so stinking cute. I love that for you. Oh, I love. Bees says, Mr. Bees and I eloped. We had some apple pie after the wedding and then took a nap. It was a Tuesday. That sounds like a beautiful Tuesday. That sounds like a wonderful Tuesday. Also, pie. I love pie. That's so nice. So nice. There probably used to be enough nuggies to be evenly divided by the serving size. Ooh, you're thinking shrinkflation. You might be right. They shrink... Okay. I don't really want to talk about this on stream, but I will say there is a specific type of item that certain people who experience certain like monthly situations might use, and they shrinkflated the brand that is purchased in this household. They shrinkflated at least one of the sizes. Because I had some left over from an older box, and I was like, this is the same box, this is the same category, the same size, and it was significantly smaller for the same, and I'm like, well, that's why we're getting through them so quickly, because they've shrunk this, hello, Leaky, welcome in, hello, it's lovely to see you. That is evil, says Art Rex. I completely agree, Rex. It's just absolutely freaking diabolical, but so many things are shrinkflated these days. I noticed that there is a silly coffee beverage. I call it silly coffee because, as you know, I'm a serious coffee enjoyer. I like drinking my, the third wave specialty coffee, yada, yada, yada. I'm very serious about, like, examining how different processes and terroirs and, like, sort of fermentation methods and all that stuff impact the tasting notes in the cup. I'm really interested in exploring like origin characteristics and all that jazz, yada yada yada. But after dinner, I really like having one of those stupid sachets of instant latte from a specific brand that is delicious to me, and I add, my like supplement powders and stuff to it so that I get all of the sort of good amino acids that my joints need and all that jazz. And they used to come in boxes of 8, and now they come in boxes of 7 for the same price. And you know what I think about that? What I think about that is a hand gesture that I don't want you to see on stream. That's what I think. So rude. Anyways, also I discovered that they sell the same product in the Netherlands, but the version that they sell in the Netherlands is ever so slightly more delicious because it contains 1% more coffee than the one that they sell here. And now I'm salty that I can't get the Dutch version because it's a little more delicious. Anyways, like he says, I hope your need for those products have shrunk by the same amount. Oh god, I wish. I wish that was true. Oh wait, that's not how bodies work. I wish it was. Birds are friends, says Rex. I wholeheartedly agree. You know I love birds. Oh man, I saw the cutest video the other day. The other day. You know dippers? You know there's a type of bird called a dipper? Well, the reason that they're called dippers is that they dip. And this was a little dipper bird standing in, sort of a shallow body of water. And it was just dipping. And it was just the cutest thing I've ever seen. Just dip, 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 dip. Dip, dip, dip. Dip, dip, dip. It was so cute! I love them so much! I love the way that dippers dip, and the way that wagtails wag their tails, and the way that fantails fan their tails. Birds are so good, y'all. Birds are so good. I need to paint another quartet of robin species, I think. Also, I really want to paint some tit birds. I'm referring to them in that way because I do not want that to be taken out of context. Though that being said, I mean, I do sketch artistic nudes on the regular because I'm doing a lot of, like, pose reference practice at the moment. Just to keep warm, basically. And also I think it's a good way to warm up as an artist to just, like, to pick some random poses and, or get assigned random poses in this case by the Quick Poses website, which I find very useful. But speaking of quick poses, I was doing a bit of, like, pose sketching practice yesterday, and I got given this as a reference photo, and I was like, hey, number one, that's not how you hold a phaser, and number two, I'm feeling a little too perceived right now as a Trekkie. Anyways. Bees says, I like chocolate and live in the US, and our chocolate is something to be pitied. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I mean, I'm sure that there must be some good chocolate out there. Like, there's gotta be. But I have intense memories of being relatively young and having been fed, so because I watched, like, US TV a lot growing up, because we lived fairly close to the, I lived within, like, 2 or 3 hours of, like, the New York state border. So we got a lot of, like, broadcast TV on the aerial from, like, Buffalo and upstate New York, that kind of thing. So I watched a lot of American TV growing up, in addition to the Canadian networks. And so I saw, like, adverts and cooking shows and all this jazz, yada, 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 about Hershey's chocolate and how Hershey's chocolate is, like, a big deal and it's like, big American chocolate brand. Ooh, I was like, I want to try Hershey's chocolate. It sounds so good. And then one time I won a small Hershey's chocolate bar from, like, a claw game machine in a bowling alley or something. I don't know. And I was like, oh man, Hershey's chocolate. I'm so excited to try this. And I was like, why is it so gritty? Even as, like, a young person with not that discerning of a palate, I was just like, well, I experienced disappointment. Oh no! It's like my whole world was shattered. Anyways. So yeah, bees, I'm super sorry. I like how the red-breasted woodpecker is entirely gray except for some red on their head, says Rex. That makes so much sense. I'm confusion. There's definitely good chocolate available for the price, but the regular candy bar fare is bleh. I'm so sorry. Leaky says, set phasers to lightsaber, Captain Reynolds. Oh no. The Daleks are attacking. You didn't grow up with the lovely aftertaste of butyric acid? Weirdly enough, in Canada, I did not. I'm pleased to confirm that even as an adult, there is nothing but deliciousness in our wonderful coffee crisps, caramilks, and my personal but niche favorite, Big Turk, which is a Turkish delight, but the texture of the Turkish delight on the inside is really chewy. And there's something I find incredibly comforting about the weird combination of chocolate and, like, chewy sweets. Like, I don't know. These days I try to replicate it if I'm not feeling very well by getting a bar of dark chocolate and eating, like, a square of it alongside with, like, half a jelly snake. That seems to do it. But, yeah, this is apparently not a popular flavor and texture combination. Listen, no experts have asserted in any, like, definitive terms that I'm not autistic, so, I felt that way about wine gums. I was so excited to try them because the name is unhinged and British people have them, and why not me? And then I tried some, says Bees. Yeah, wine gums are like... they're not... If they were present, I would just snack on them, but for me, they're kind of a mid-sweet. I was actually waxing very nostalgically yesterday about... And I don't know if this was available outside of Canada, but there used to be... And this is the like... Specifically North American category, because I don't think the UK ever had them. I don't think they were ever a thing in Europe. Fruit snacks, which are basically sweets, but nominally they're made with fruit, so you have them as like a little snack as part of your lunch. Which is in no way healthy. They're just sweets. They're just sweets under a slightly different name for unknown reasons. Anyways, they always had the best texture though, and there was this one in the 90s called So Delicious. And they were so good. It was like, if you imagine like a fizzy cherry cola bottle, but the texture and the flavor are like 100 out of 10 delicious. That was so delicious. I loved them so much and I miss them. I miss them so much. They were so good. They also had like fizzy like sugar around the outside. Yay. Wonderful. Anyways, Rex says, I never understood the US chocolate thing, and then I had some German chocolate. I still didn't understand it, then I had a Hershey's Kiss and remembered that I usually only ever get mom and pop shop dark chocolate, and then I understood that I'm never eating normal US chocolate. Yeah, like, there's definitely some, like, decent chocolate out there. I remember going to this, like, very celebrated chocolatier when I visited LA for the first time. Because my friend who lived locally, he was like, oh, you have to get chocolate from this one place because they're like famous for it. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, this is really good, like old fashioned chocolate sweets. This is nice. I would not say the same about a Hershey's chocolate bar. Leaky says, I feel like eventually the diagnostic criteria for ADHD and ASD will get merged together. There's so much overlap. And it seems to co-occur in so many people. You know? Like for sure there are probably people out there who fit the diagnostic criteria for one but not the other, but there are also people who fit some of the diagnostic criteria for autism but not every single one. You know? Because we're all different. And likewise with ADHD and that kind of thing. It's been considered, but they have different visible differences in brain activity that advise scientists to keep them separate, says Rex. That's really interesting. There's a lot of interesting sort of like correlations, and I don't know. I don't. It's hard to. I'm not an expert in researching these kinds of things, but lots of autistic folks with extra bendy limbs too. Yeah, is that like? Is there a connection there, or is it just, like, coincidental? I don't know. There's also a lot of stuff where they're, like, not necessarily this one, but there's a lot of cases of, like, certain things that, like, are common to a lot of neurodivergent folks that, in some cases, it's hard to say whether this is just, like, a trait that is informed by your neurotype, or whether it is basically just informed by the trauma that comes with existing as like a non-neurotypical person in a neurotypical world and not having your needs met in the same way as a result. Which isn't necessarily something that's like inborn, but something that we have in common. It's hard to say. There's research out there that does link autism and fibro. Interesting. Not surprising. A lot of this stuff really does seem to overlap. There we go. Like, there was, something else that I saw to do with, like, neurodivergence and higher incidences of some other health stuff that I deal with. And I was like, I don't know why there would be a correlation between those two things happening more often within the same body, but man, it sucks that we just get piled on, apparently. Yippee. Speaking of yippee, this is a yummy cup of tea. This is my apple cider, like spiced apple tea. I remembered I had it. I was like, it's cold out. I want something that's got like appley, cinnamony. It's appley and cinnamony and spicy, but very different ways to the I think last week I had some of my pink apple pie tea, which is appley and cinnamony, but then also like has like a pie vibe to it. Like it's a little bit it's a little bit sweeter, it's a little bit more, it's almost got like a butteriness to it in there someplace. Um so yeah. Anyways, should I actually paint some trees? Or do we not mind? Cause I don't. I mean, I would like to paint, but yes. Anywho, I forget what my point was. And did I? I probably didn't have one. Let's be real. Let me catch up with chat. It's only recently that folks are funding research into neurodiversity and non-white non-men. That's very true as well. I was in some conversations earlier today to do with like the amount of historic, and I do think it's better now, but like the amount of historic, and partially to do with the fact that just my personal experience with clinical research and the governance of such research and the guidelines for acceptable research practice, you know, was not to the even in like the 90s. I think it was not, there was not as much of a focus on, you know, are you conducting this research in an ethical way in the way that there is now. And it's good that we have that now. It seems to be the topic of the day, says Rex. Yeah, apparently so. But yeah, the number of like, you know, the number of things that I've gone to the doctor for, and they're like, okay, yeah, so we found, so it looks like you know, we've done a scan or we've run a blood test or whatever, and it looks like your blah 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 is mildly raised, or you have a bit of this, or such and such disorder. But so here's the thing, there isn't really an effective treatment for this thing, which predominantly impacts like AFAB people, that's assigned female at birth, not just people who are fabulous, though, I mean, hello. I kid. Yeah, there isn't a treatment for it that makes it go away or anything. You're just stuck with trying to manage it, and the means we have for managing it suck and aren't very good. 'Cause it hasn't been researched. Good luck, you know. Unless it's something that has a lot of press, like breast cancer. The things that just, like, you know, generally make your daily life worse, but do not affect males. Just don't have the same, you know, like decades spanning body of research attached to them. Interesting. You know, not to mention just being taken less seriously at the doctor. Fibro, says Rex, is also kind of used as a blanket diagnosis for otherwise undiagnosable pain. Yeah. Also, like, you know, I think a lot of like fatigue type issues are kind of similar, and, you know, obviously those don't exclusively affect women or like AFAB folks, but it seems like a lot of the time it does, and a lot of the time it's, well, we don't know. Try not to overdo it, but get some exercise. Okay, bye. You know, it's like, great, thanks. Oh, I remember there was a really horrible article that was published some years ago that was about like chronic fatigue, and people got real mad about it. But the problem with like chronic issues like these, where you're like tired all the time, or you have like random flare-ups of terrible pain that make it really hard to do stuff, is also that like it's it's harder to advocate for yourself and your needs as a person experiencing a medical issue when the medical issue makes it really hard to just do anything. You know, when you're tired to the point that like you can maybe spend 4 hours like checking your email, taking a shower, and having something to eat in a day and have to spend the rest of the day in bed, it's a lot harder to advocate for yourself as a sick person who's not receiving adequate care. This sucks. This really sucks. And I hate it. Anyways, big ups Chronic Illness Gang. Yay, I have MS and rheumatoid arthritis and maybe a host of other things. Yippee! Isn't it fun, bees? No, it's not, and that sucks, and I'm sorry, it sucks. I've had mildly crappy joints for like most of my life. Which thankfully is largely deal withable, but I seem to just get random oof ouches more easily these days, possibly also because it's combined with like being middle-aged and my airways don't work very well, and well, the doctor reckons I'm you know, I could. Now this came up several years ago, but the doctor was like, have you considered losing weight? And it's like, yeah, it'd be a lot easier to lose weight if I didn't have the disorder that makes it really, really hard to do that. So thanks for reading my whole ass file there, doc. Like, anyways. Chronic fatigue was linked to a biological and measurable factor in a study in 2025 that definitely said in 100% of trialees that it's not neurological. It was a small study and it was used to find another study of a much larger sample size that starts this year. Hey, Rex, that is some promising research. I hope that it leads to, like, you know, improvements in care and stuff going forward. I grew up in the era when fatigue was just dismissed as yuppie flu, says Leaky. Ugh. I don't know if this is because I spent a lot of time as like the kind of part-time worker where like if you have to phone in sick, you just don't get paid for that day. I spent enough of my working life in those kinds of like day job posts that like I have a lot of, I think, internalized that I've worked quite hard to get rid of about like just actually letting myself rest if I feel sick, which is great, but it definitely internalizes the idea that like, you know, oh, you're not really feeling that bad, you just don't want to do it kind of thing, or like there are consequences if you let yourself rest. Is that's weirdly not healthy. We live in a society that's kind of garbage. Anyways, I just had labs come back that show me as pre-diabetic and at the very last number before being actual diabetic. And the only thing my medical staff want to do is work on my dietary choices for 6 months and recheck. I got one of those text messages once, like a while back, and I love the fact that, at least for me, I get a text message from a doctor I've never spoken to before. That's just like, okay, your blood tests that you didn't realize we were checking for indicated this. Stop drinking and smoking. And I'm like, I don't do those things. I don't do those things. Leave me alone. Anyways, I'd probably be better at that if they'd give me the meds that help with impulse control, says Leaky. That's also a mood. Rex says the specific causes and locations of effect on the body were widely varied, so the small study was enough to confirm existence but not establish a clear and consistent diagnostic method. The new study hopes to classify methods further with thousands of trials instead of hundreds. Sounds like there wasn't a large enough sample size. I mean, it's good to do like a preliminary trial that has a relatively small sample size, because you want to oftentimes like pilot things to see whether or not it's worth continuing, whether or not you're going to generate any like useful data out of this. But now that they've established that there's useful data to be had, but not a robust enough sample size to generate like a bunch of conclusion. So I'm glad they're taking it forward with a larger sample size. I hope that it reveals useful things. Yay! I'm gonna sip my other tea because I have 2 teas. This tea is mint, and I can feel it already getting cold, which is really annoying. But also, I've been way chattier than I thought it was going to be. Is this a cozy stream? Are people feeling cozy? I hope so. I realize we're talking about, like, medical research and that kind of thing, and I don't know if that's cozy, but I hope you're having a cozy time. Oh my god, I've been streaming for almost an hour! And my paintbrush is not wet yet. The only consistency is it could be traced back to permanent damage caused by a viral or bacterial infection, says Rex. Yes, and I'm... This is, this is a cause that this has been identified before as, like, a possible cause, that it is, like, in some way triggered by like a viral infection. And I mean, with the very acute demonstrable stuff we've seen people dealing with post COVID as well. If you're not feeling too good, or just in general, if you're going to be in a space that's full of like a ton of people and a crowded space, and it's the winter time especially, consider masking up. Like, I don't want to tell you how to live your life, but, you know, it's... You don't want to pass on any nasty viruses that maybe your body's able to fight off, but your disabled friends can't. You know, or like your older family members or whatever. But also, you don't want to get sick and then become disabled because of it. It sucks. Like, it really sucks. I'm gonna be real with you. I had COVID twice, and... my life has just kind of been worse since. You know, like I don't have like anything disabling to the point that I'm not able to more or less, you know, kind of live, but I can do a lot less than I used to be able to. Though that being said, I was overdoing it before, because it turns out it's not normal to be like falling asleep at your desk in the middle of a work day. I don't do that so much anymore, but sometimes I just have to, I don't leave the house as often, nearly as often as I used to, and, sometimes I still have to take a nap at some point in the middle of the day because I
Attention!
Can't,
Twitch user Sammy Kelch.
Anyways.
Shoppers.
Oh my goodness, we've got a raid. Hello. Welcome in, raiders. Welcome, welcome. I hope that you had a lovely stream. Welcome in, Coetus. Hello, hello. Let me get a shout out for you in the chat. What are you up to today? How was your stream? I hope you had a lovely, lovely, lovely stream, everyone. If there's a link in the chat, Kid Angel Arts, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome on in. Thank you. I hope you're having a wonderful Thursday as well. But yeah, how was your stream? What you got up to today? It's lovely to see you all, and welcome. For anyone who's new here, hi, hello. I'm going to snooze ads in a second so you don't get dumped into an ad break, because that feels bad. But if you're not familiar with me, hi, I'm a variety streamer. I do cozy art streams on Mondays and most Thursdays. I do cozy game streams on Friday mornings, and every once in a while on a Thursday if I'm feeling extra crispy. We're painting today, nominally. They say having literally not put any paint to paper so far, and we're an hour into stream, but never mind. We're having a good time. But yeah, I did a paint of a person with blue hair again. Ooh. Oh, that sounds lovely. If there is anything you would like to share with the class, whether it's what you've been working on today or something on your socials or whatever, you are very welcome to send a link into my whispers, and I would be very, very happy to share with the class. But we are an art tax optional stream, and ad break is not starting soon because I'm going to snooze it because y'all just got here. So let's get rid of that for as long as possible. But we are an art tax optional stream, so if you would like to share something with the class, you're welcome to whisper a link in my direction. But if you just want to like chill or do post-stream decompression or whatever, that's all good as well. Absolutely no pressure. But yeah, and in case anyone's curious as to what my artwork looks like when it's done, and you might be, I can show you some of what my art looks like. Right? Please, hold up. I can show you right here. This is my Instagram. I'm not good friends with Instagram at the moment, because I don't know, the algorithm hates me. It makes me feel bad about myself. But it is a reliable place for me to see art by people I like. So I still use it to look at art by people I like and post things that I do. This is a bobbin that we painted on stream a little while ago. They are extremely friend-shaped. I developed a mild hyperfixation on robin species because there are so many more species of robin than I had ever imagined. I don't. Okay, can you resend the link, please? I don't think I got a link. I just got some text. Because I very much like to share. Yeah, in the meantime, this is the robin I painted. Because, yeah, we'll probably be painting some more robins soon. I made a short list of all of the robins that I want to paint because they're real stinking cute. And this was a watercolor that we did a little while ago just to test out this palette of colors, and I ended up really liking this piece, and I hope you do too. But yeah, that's the kind of silly shenanigans that we get up to here. It's very watercolory. But anyways, I hope that you had a good stream. I hope it all went well. Aha! Okay, I have a link. Good. Let's take a look and see. Let's take a look. Hello. Art by Carlos, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on in. Thank you. Adorable style in that one. Oh, thank you very much, Coetus. I appreciate it. Let me get your link up and running. If I can. Oh, this is sweet! Oh, I love it! This is so good, y'all. Y'all, hold on. No, not that screen. This screen. Check it out! This is so good. This is a lovely portrait. I really like your textures. And your use of color as well is really nice. This is really good. I as a texture enjoyer, this is really good. I love the expression on this person as well. It is absolutely delightful. They seem like they'd be a very fun individual, I think, from this expression. It's very dynamic, and I think the texture that you're giving it works really, really well with that expression also, and I love their hair. This is so good. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. I really appreciate it. Let me get another shout out for you in the chat, if I can, because I can do 2 different flavors of shout out, which gets me around any cool downs and stuff, which I would like to do. Anyways, but yeah, thank you very much again. I do appreciate it. And thank you again for the raid also, and for sharing your beautiful work with us. This rocks. I love it. It looks amazing, and you should feel very happy about that. So yeah, thank you everyone for coming in. What I'm working on today is a little landscape with Forg Mage. This, if you're not familiar with my little guy, this is Terry. He is a Forg Mage. He's a froggy sort of fellow who likes to wander around the enchanted forest and just have a nice chill time doing magic and going on little adventures. But I painted him for the first time on stream on one of my very early art streams 5 years ago. And he looked like this. And I thought, since I just hit my 5-year stream anniversary last week, I thought it would be fun to kind of revisit this piece and give it a more contemporary, like, makeover. And basically just kind of interpret how would I paint this, but in the style that's like what I'm working in now. And so that was the impetus behind it. I'm gonna snooze ads again because I don't want you guys to get dumped into ads yet. So we'll snooze the ads one more time. And thank you again for coming on in. We were talking about very cozy topics like clinical research before this, but specifically to do with, like, I think we got into talking about, like, chronic fatigue and that kind of thing, and that it is definitely the case that, like, post Panini and the kinds of chronic illnesses that surfaced, like, post Panini were definitely the impetus to do a lot more research on this kind of thing, which is, it's bad that people are getting and have gotten sick. Like, that sucks. That's bad. And it's especially, it's bad that people, you know, sort of like died of this stuff and all that as well. And that, you know, like, getting sick sucks. Like I was saying that, you know, I've had COVID twice, and my health is worse since then. So yay, yippee, cozy stuff. But at least the one thing that I guess is good that's come out of it is that more research is going into this kind of illness, and hopefully that will lead to better outcomes, treatments, and all that jazz in the future. I live in hope for that kind of thing. I do have a day job currently that puts me into contact with quite a lot of, like, clinical type research, and it is heartening to me seeing the research that is happening out there. 'Cause, yeah. Anyways, I like people not getting sick. I don't know if I ever had it, but if I did, it wasn't bad enough to realize. That's really awesome, actually. I love that for you. 'Cause it sucked. Stay healthy, everybody. Take your vitamins. Take your vitamins. Eat lots of fruits, if you can. I'm gonna have an apple after dinner, I think. Yum, yum. I'm gonna maybe consider painting some trees. Now that we're catapulting into, I think I've, okay, I'm sure I cleaned this brush, but apparently there was some residual paint still inside it. Oh no. Or maybe it's just because I didn't actually change my paint water since last time, because I was like, we're working on the same painting. I'm tired. So this paint water is a little bit, greenish. But also, a lot of these watercolors are very, like, light and translucent and that kind of thing, so wasn't too horribly concerned about that kind of thing. I don't know what happened to my accent there. Don't ask. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Everything's fine. But I want to do some more trees of neighboring colors, I guess I should say. So what if I just picked up some paint? What if I just picked up some paint and then plopped down some happy little tree? Would that be all right? Am I allowed to do that? Am I allowed to paint at all before the first ad break? I don't know. Anyways, how's everyone's week been? I hope that your week has been good. I've had a quite busy week, with quite a lot of, like, less fun busy things, so I haven't really had a chance to do much, apart from doing a bit of, like, just, like, pose practice, painting. I haven't really had the time to do much in the way of... Oh, that's dark. Okay. Well, we're just, you know what, we're just going with it. We're just gonna go with it. And I'm just gonna kind of rough in, like, the kind of bones of the tree, as it were, and then we'll come in and fill in with some more dedicated foliage. But this is why I've decided where I want this tree to sit. Yes, Koeta says, right, I need to unblue my fingers. Oh, jeez. I may as well clean the rest of my body while I am there, so I will disappear into a lurk. I'm interested to see the difference in the new version when it is done. Oh, I hope that it does not disappoint. But thank you very much again, and I have a lovely post-stream decompression session and getting yourself unblued and all that jazz. And thank you again for the raid. I really appreciate it. Mood, says Rex. Yep. What are trees if not future bookshelves? Oh my god, you're so right hilarious and very true. Thank you. Oh my god, you're so right though. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, can I paint in any more tree in the intervening 10 seconds before I have to take us on an ad break? I think I'm going to have to stop there because I don't want to be doing stuff while we are in ads. So, over to the BRB screen we go. I will be back very, very shortly, and you're not going to miss anything. So have a drink, have a stretch, do whatever you got to do, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. I'm sorry if you have to see ads, but I'll see you again very soon. The ads break. Thank you for sticking around. If you have, I appreciate it. And I've just remembered the other thing that I wanted to talk about today. And I'm sure you'll be very happy that I remembered this other thing that I wanted to talk about today. It's very important that you know the other thing I wanted to talk about today. And that is today is Threshold Day, friends. If you're not familiar with what Threshold Day is, and I don't want to spoiler things too much for you, but today marks the 30th, oh god, I'm so old. Today marks the 30th anniversary of the original air date of the Star Trek Voyager episode Threshold, which aired originally on whatever network Star Trek Voyager was on 30 years ago today. That's pretty dang special. And it is for many reasons that's pretty dang special, but if you're not familiar with Threshold, the Star Trek Voyager episode, just know that it is memorable for being not very good, but in like an extremely weird way. Again, I don't want to spoiler things too much for you, but effectively, a member of the crew manages to engineer his way to making a starship go faster than any starship has ever gone before, and in breaking this, like, speed barrier, a bunch of weird stuff happens, which then causes his body to start rapidly evolving, which I think fundamentally misunderstands how evolution works, and is also just really, really weird and uncomfortable to watch. The body horror in this episode is really something else. And I don't want to spoil how it culminates, but if you've seen anything to do with Threshold, you will know that there are salamander-looking creatures involved. I don't know why humans would evolve into things that look like salamanders, but here we are. And obviously at the end of the episode, they're able to de-evolve again, and just be normal humans, and never speak of the incident ever again. Which, you know, it's episodic TV, and in general, especially in this era, the general rule of thumb for episodic TV is you didn't want continuing stakes from one episode to the next. There are certain things that you couldn't get away from, like, oh, these two characters got married. So if you just jump into an episode not having seen the show ever before, you just get the gist of the fact that at some point these two characters got married. It's fine, don't worry about it. But other than that, not a ton of ongoing story arcs. A lot of episodes were extremely self-contained stories that could kind of be aired in any order in syndication and yada yada yada. If you're just dipping into one episode and seeing the show for the first time, you wouldn't be completely lost as to what the nuts was going on. You get that, like, okay, these people are on a spaceship. Let's see what shenanigans they get up to this week, and in this case... in this case... I tell you to just go watch the episode, but... Whoa. Yup. I think we can give them the benefit of the doubt, says Rex. They only had like 150 years to learn about Darwin's work before writing it. Yeah, absolutely. It's not like it's not like they would have had the capacity to understand on some level how we believe that evolution of species work or anything like that. So, like, it's understandable that they were just like, oh yeah, it makes total sense that with no other that there's just a set sort of evolutionary path that you're going to go on, and it's moving towards being a salamander for no apparent reason. It's not. I mean, obviously it's a completely made up concept anyways here, because we have a character who does super fast space travel, and then that causes his body to rapidly evolve, which is also not... Evolution doesn't occur in, like, a single creature over the course of their lifespan. It occurs over the space of the lifespans of generations and generations of creatures. Best not to think. If they had just not said that it's making him evolve, or just if they just said it's making him transform for some reason, it would make much more sense. Really. It's it's the whole, like, he's evolving thing that just makes it into, like, stupidness territory. It's just stupid. Anyways, but it's stupid in a fun way, and I do appreciate things that I prefer things that are stupid in a fun way, like a so bad it's kind of enjoyable, to things that are just, like, boring, or things that are just, like, annoying bad. Like, I can find this, like, a stupid fun bad, like The Room. Okay, confession time. I've never actually seen The Room from beginning to end. So, like, Starfleet Academy wink, says Leaky. Leaky, I haven't seen a single episode of Starfleet Academy yet. I don't even know where it's available in the UK, if it's available in the UK. If it's not available in the UK, I'm not on the right starships to plunder it, which I would never do, because I'm a good Star Federation citizen. Anyway, I haven't seen any of it. What I know from reviews I've seen from trusted people who get preview copies of TV shows is that the first few episodes are okay, and then it gets quite good. I'm currently undecided about it, says Leaky. I think the first 3 episodes have aired. Am I right in thinking that? Apparently by 4, 5, and 6, it's on an upward tick of improvement. I have also seen photos of the one, I think she's the captain, and she sits in chairs in ways that I sit in chairs, aka incorrectly, and you know what? I'm here for that. So, my moderator / spouse is home. I'm gonna go quickly say hi to him. I'll be back in a second. Hey. Hi. Yes, there is a big ass box in the bedroom, all for you. Not that one. Not that one. That's in the corridor. It's not that big. I hope. I love you. Welcome home. Oh my god. Mike's not muted. Welcome home, baby. I love you. There are hellos in the chat from Leaky and also from Rex.
Hello and hello and... Oh, that smells.
He says hello and hello. Anyways. Good. Oh, babe. Anyways. Rex says, being an evolution scientist must be an interesting career path. You get into the field already knowing that statistically you won't ever see the fruits of your labor. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's true. Wild. Anyways. There are the only branches of, like, evolutionary science that I've ever really dug that deep into, and when I say that deep into, I mean read articles about, like, published studies that seem questionable, is evolutionary psychology. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of very useful conversations happening in the realm of evolutionary psychology, but there's also a good amount of stuff that seems questionable that is the kind of thing that gets reported in, like, you know, sort of pop psych articles. And people go, oh, and then take entirely the wrong conclusions away from and don't think critically about. But so it goes. I need to paint another tree. Are you putting the heat on?
Yeah, although it's only 18, so it's probably not going to kick in.
Yeah, it was on a little. Well, it should do, because it should be set to 19, so it ought to. I had it on earlier, and then I got too hot because I made hot tea. That's fair. Okay. I want to put another one of these trees over here, but I've got a Terry here, so I'm trying to think strategically, like, composition-wise, where I want there to be a tree. And I think, I'm just gonna go for it. I want it to not be, I want to make sure that I'm not accidentally making the painting, like, symmetrical, either. So let's just, there's a tree back here. Like so. I think that, yeah, that's fine. Okay. I want the tree texture to be nice and present, but I also really don't want to accidentally put paint on top of a Terry. I didn't masking fluid around Terry or anything because I was like, I wanted to keep things a little bit more loosey-goosey than that. But as a consequence, I'm having to be very careful not to accidentally paint any bits that are Terry with tree gubbins. Sorry it took such a long time to get the pieces of that sentence out. Sometimes my brain has a bit of a time trying to do multiple things and gets a little confusioned. But yeah, so once again, happy Threshold Day to all who celebrate. I cannot believe it's been 30 years. I hate that a bit. That feels that feels very stressful to me. But that being said, also, it does fit, like, the 90s feels like simultaneously, like, 10 years ago and such a long time ago, like, ancient history. Like, it's all a blur to me, and then also it was, like, last week. My conception of time is very challenged, I think, in many ways. A struggle. Sorry. What, love?
Please don't have conception with time.
Please don't have conception with time, says my moderator / spouse. I'll do my best, love.
Perception and
Did I conflate concept and perception there? Maybe. Okay. Well, you know what I mean. Listen, speaking things out loud live on the internet is a lot of pressure, actually. So sometimes we get words slightly wrong. And you know what? That's fine. I've decided to make this tree give this tree a little bit more width. Because it deserves it. There we go. Okay. Is this anything? Just tug on this side a little bit as well. Okay. Alright, that's a tree somewhere behind Terry. Leaky says, it's not as bad considering a modern reboot of Back to the Future where Marty goes back to when his parents first got together in 1996. I know that's correct, but oof. It is really weird thinking about. So just don't talk about your ages, chat, for safety and all that. So I'm an 80s baby. And it is kind of crazy to me that when I was a little wee babby, the end of the Second World War, which at that point, you know, like in my childhood felt like absolute ancient history, is as far away from me being a little wee babby as I am now from having been a little wee babby. Like, I'm so, like, that, no, no, no. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, chat. I don't like it. Don't like it. Nope. No, sir. I don't like it. Okay, but here we are. And that is just some uncomfortable factoids we have to contend with. What? No. Nope. Nope. Anyways. So it goes. I'm gonna draw some more ickle trees. And see how that goes. I'm gonna try and cluster them like somewhat close to each other. So maybe if I pop a little tree like here. So it's somewhat obscuring that tree there, but also it's kind of behind this tree. Oh no, have I played myself? Perchance. Because then what I don't want to do is paint over the tree that this tree is behind. So I'm having to kind of very carefully layer here as a consequence. Try and get some reasonable arboreal symmetry here at least. Okay, we've got some happy little tree textures happening. Well, it's whatever. No, Bees says Facebook keeps showing me vintage toys from my childhood, and I realized I am now the older adult audience that they want to soothe with the nostalgia. Ah, jeez. Ah, jeez. I'm still salty about the fact that I can't buy So Delicious anymore. That's the fruit snack. I just remember it being like, I treasured those sweets. They were so good. They were so good. The textures. The thing is, my memory is probably better than the experience of them. And I know this going back to Canada and purchasing, like, nostalgic treats when I visit. The frequency with which I'm like, yeah, that's not as good as I remember. And it might be because the recipe's changed. But it's also very likely because I've changed. And what I like and prioritize is different. I mean, I used to drink my coffee with like, half and half cream in it. I used to have dark roast coffee with half and half cream because that's what you did at the time, and that's certainly what you did back in Canada. Having coffee with cream now, I'm like, what? No! That's way too rich. Unless it's like, you know, I'll have like whole milk in my coffee if I'm having like an espresso-based beverage because I think it balances it nicer. But if I'm just having a filtered coffee at home, I just have skimmed milk. Anything else is like an indulgence. Leaky says the nostalgic foods that didn't survive the sugar tax in that time when everyone thought MSG was evil. I'm glad to see that seems to have no longer be the case. I think we've all accepted MSG into our hearts largely, or at least into our digestive systems. Recognizing that sometimes it really does just make your snacks and meals more delicious. It is deliciousness powder. That is what MSG is. Rex says, when the nostalgia marketing wraps back around to translucent electronics, I will be proud to be the target of nostalgia. Oh, jeez. There are certain I confess there are certain things that I wish we would bring back, but also I'm starting to feel the pressures of the tide of changing fashions again, because there was a style of trouser that it is in fact the only really style of like ready-made trouser that I wear. And it's made by Lucy and Yak, not sponsored. but also they are worrying me on account of Rex's BRB and have a lovely BRB. Oh, I see. Translucent electronics are still made for prisoners, says Leaky. Interesting. And Rex says BRB off to do crimes. Is that I don't think that's a good reason to I don't think translucent electronics is a good reason to try and get yourself into prisons. I don't think that's wise. Please be safe. Anyways, and definitely don't telegraph your crimes on the internet. There was there was something I heard about recently that was being touted apparently on short form media as this like some kind of like get like free money glitch basically that involved I don't remember how it worked, but it involved basically using one of those like pay in installments plans in a way that wasn't quite intended, but technically you're able to do, and people were like, yeah, boo, free money, and it's like, wait, okay, either this isn't free money and you're eventually going to have to pay for whatever you just did with that app, or you just did a fraud. Regardless, this is not going to be good for you legally or for your credit rating, and you really probably shouldn't be advertising on the internet if you're doing a fraud. Like, do people not understand what fraud is? And that it's a crime? You should not do crimes. And if you're a silly sausage who does like a banking fraud or something, like if you put incriminating evidence of yourself doing a fraud on your TikTok account, they will use that against you in court. Ya ding-dongs. It's not some kind of fun free money glitch. It is either something that's going to damage your credit rating because you're going to have to pay it back, or you've just done fraud. Neither of these things are good. Rex says, I don't think they'll ever come back in force for nostalgia that much. Plastics have come a ways, but translucent plastics are still largely objectively worse than solid. I do wonder about some of the things from when I was younger that, like, are these things going to be nostalgia? And some of the things that seem to have come back into fashion that I'm just like, but why though? It wasn't good in the first place. Like I said earlier about, like, there's a style of trouser that I like to wear. I like to wear it not because I think it's flattering on my body. I don't think it makes my body look good, but crucially, it comes up to my natural waistline, so I don't have to worry about not being able to tuck things in. And I like being able to tuck things in. But also I don't like lower waistlines because sometimes they don't stay. Especially if you prefer wearing like looser trousers. I don't like tight clothing generally. I don't often find it super comfortable. So I would rather have baggy jeans that fit me at the waist are 100% perfect for me, right? But they also taper down at the bottom of the leg so I can roll it up because inevitably they're too long for my little leggies. And I'm noticing more like wide leg stuff and flare stuff are in now, and I'm just like, I can't wear those as a person who's 5 foot tall, because even if I am able to like hem the sort of legs up, and I can hem them up, the shape is designed for someone who's like 6 inches taller than me. Ergo, the shape is going to look wrong on my teeny tiny little legs. It's going to be out of proportion and I'm going to look stupid. So I might as well just wear pants that make me look like a stupid clown in the first place and just embrace the clown pants. But all of the trousers on that shop of this style are currently listed as like last chance, and they're all on sale. And none of them are available in my size. They have like the extra, extra, extra small, and then like the largest size available, and that's it. So I'm really scared that I'm never going to be able to buy trousers again, or I'm going to have like, if any of these wear out and die, and thankfully they do seem to be fairly long lasting, but if any of these wear out and die, I'm going to have to either learn to make my own trousers, and yes, I am a sewist, but sewing like heavy twill and denim and that kind of material I don't like doing because it's thick and it's annoying. But I want trousers that come up to my waist, because, you know, I'm old and I want to be comfortable, and I don't want trousers that have legs that are longer than my own legs that I have to hem up, that I can't cuff, because they've got like wide bottoms or they're flares or whatever, and they're going to look stupid on my body because they're not designed for tiny, short, stumpy legs like mine. Boo earns. Anyways. Ooh, Rex says, my car does have a translucent shark fin radio antenna for no reason, so that's fun. It is clear plastic with a 90% tint. That sounds very fun. B says, ultra low-rise pants are awful, and we are not doing oh god, the whale tail. The whale tail of the early aughts, that doesn't need to come back. No. Low-rise skinny capris or shrink-flated jeans, says Rex. Yeah, you're paying the same amount of money for less material. Boo. But no, I don't want to go back to low-rise because I don't want to have to worry about, like, I want to be able to be in full control of whether or not you can see any of my midriff. And I do own some, like, cropped t-shirts and stuff that I wear cognizant of the fact that you're going to see a little slip of my tummy between the waistband of my comes up to my waist jeans and the hemline of my cropped shirt. And I think that that looks really cute and fun on me. But that's my choice. I don't want something that, you know, hits at, like, my hips or something like that. Because then I'm just going to be concerned about, like, is it going to stay up because of the way that my body is shaped? Sometimes they don't want to. Also, you know, like, I don't want to contend with, like, trousers that are super tight and I have to pour myself into anymore. No. But also I don't want to contend with trousers that have a lot of, like, stretch material added to them because A, plastics, and B, the fabric just does not last as long. It just doesn't. And, you know, there are certain parts of a pair of trousers, like, for instance, if you have human thighs, chances are your thighs touch a bit when you walk, and if the material is not a good, like, robust material, it's most likely to wear out where the wear and tear is happening, and if you do a lot of walking, that's probably where your thighs touch, and that's a really difficult part to repair if the fabric is worn away. It's just a big old pain in the backside, and I hate it. Rex says, I know someone that folds over her leggings so she can still do the whale tail thing. People are allowed to make incorrect choices. That is... I mean, that's a choice. And listen, if we all had the exact same taste, life's rich pageant would be a lot less interesting. But with that being said, it is not something that I personally would choose ever at all in my life. I'm not a particularly modest individual when it comes to my dress. I'm not super comfortable showing a lot of leg, but that's not because I'm, like, shy about my legs per se. I don't know. I feel more comfortable when they've got material all around them. But, like, I'll wear skirts and stuff, and you know, if I have to, like, lift up my skirts to go up the stairs on the bus, I don't care if people can see my legs, like, it's fine, whatever. And, you know, I prefer things that have a bit of a low cut because I think with I don't have a particularly long neck, so I think it looks better if I'm showing a bit of, you know, the boobage, as it were. So yeah, definitely not a particularly modest individual, and I don't mind showing a bit of tummy as well with, like, a crop top, that kind of thing. But with that being said, oh boy, there is a limit, and I don't want anyone seeing my undie pants. Because that's my own business. Listen, and, like, 98% of the time, my undie pants are real cute. Because I'll buy ones that have, you know, little, like, I've got some Star Wars undie pants, or I've got ones that have little pictures of fruits and stuff on them. I think that's fun. But that's personal. It's nobody's business but my own and my partner's what my undie pants look like. And I don't particularly want to see other people's undie pants, so... It's an interesting choice. Anyways. Those are my salty sartorial opinions for today. Apparently I had them. I don't know what I'm doing with these trees, and I don't know if they look good. I'm just gonna keep painting them in until I feel like there's enough. I like this idea of calling skimpy clothes shrinkflated regular clothes, says Rex. Yeah, I enjoy that. I use skimpy for a lack of a better term because I wouldn't exactly call low-rise trousers or crop top skimpy. There's lots less coverage options out there. Oh yeah, certainly. Like there's the like low-rise trousers I wouldn't call skimpy in the way that I'd call, say, like a pair of very very short, like, you know, cut off jorts or that kind of thing might be skimpy. Or indeed, but also, you know, skimpiness is also situational. For instance, like, I wear significantly less if I'm going for a swim, and I don't feel uncomfortable in that situation, showing a lot of skin. You know, obviously, like, my arms are bare, it's fairly low cut, and you can see the entirety of my legs, and I'm like, whatever. But yeah, I like shrinkflated as a terminology for crop. I do wish more trousers came in shrinkflated length, though. That being said, again, because only 5 feet tall, all of the trousers are too long. And anything that's regular length was not designed with where my knees are relative to the length of, you know, sort of my thigh and calf portions of leg. So sometimes if there's any, like, shaping inherent in the jeans where, like, it's supposed to be fitted a certain way through the thigh and then sort of, like, change at the knee, like flares and that kind of thing, is going to be all off. I used to try it, like, back in the 90s. Back when Threshold was airing on TV, when it was a new episode and we were all looking forward to seeing what this new Voyager episode was about, I was attempting to wear flared trousers because they were trendy and I wanted to be trendy and look cool. And it didn't work. Because it presupposed that the top portion of my leg was longer than the top portion of my leg is. So I would hem my trousers so that they were the proper length at the bottom, but it would be fitted to about mid-calf, and then the flare would kick out, and I would look like a freaking idiot. It looked weird, misshapen, and stupid on my body, because it was designed for someone who was like 5'8". Anyways, have you ever seen someone in swimwear at the grocery store, says Bees? You almost feel upset about it because that's too much skin for the supermarket. I've never seen anyone in swimwear at the grocery store. Though one time in America, I did see a guy in the grocery store who was, this is the most Midwestern thing I'd ever experienced in my life. I was in, I believe, a Piggly Wiggly supermarket, and I saw a man wearing a pair of, like, denim farmer's dungarees with no shirt on underneath, and only one of the, like, bib buckles were done up. In the supermarket. And that, to me, felt weird. America, what? Anyways, Rex says, I have, but I do live about 19 minutes from a beach, so it can be forgivable. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think being in swimwear in places that are near the beach just feels sensical. Like, you know, you've just gone for a little doot at the beach, and you've got your swimsuit on, and you want to go get, like, I don't know, a treat of some kind, a Mr. Whippy. I don't expect that you'd necessarily get fully dressed. Like, I get it. Anyways, 10 minutes even. Yes. Also, I'm slightly jelly. I haven't seen a seashore in some time, and I miss it. I really do. I like seeing the sea. It makes me feel, I feel like it's good for my mental health to occasionally see a bit of sea. I'm gonna pop another tree down here. I'm imagining it comes down to about here. So I'm gonna rough in some foliage. And then get some more paint, because that was not nearly enough paint. Doop-a-doop. Okay. Alright, anyways, my train of thought has gone for a wander. I think I'm still mad about the fact that it looks like the one brand that makes, like, my quote-unquote safe trousers, is potentially discontinuing my safe trousers. which ultimately just means I might be transitioning to being more of like an all the time skirt person, or a most of the time skirt person. Because I do find skirts generally, I think, they're easier to make and to have fit than trousers. And I have quite a few like skirt making plans for upcoming sewing projects, so there's that. But also just like come on, brain. In my culture, we call trousers / pants / jeans, etc. leg jail, says Beast. That is an interesting way of thinking of it. I don't prefer to wear skirts around the house, though. I think I touched on the idea of my spatial awareness not being 100% earlier. And part of the way that this manifests is that if I'm wearing... Because when I wear skirts, I tend to wear fairly big swooshy skirts, you know, like in a couple of layers of them. I've got like some petticoats going on under there. If I am wearing my big skirts in the house, I will accidentally like swoop round, turn round, and just knock stuff over with my skirts constantly. I will be brushing against things and knocking them off of surfaces all the ding dang time with my skirts. So it just isn't safe to do. So I just wear pajama trousers at home, but I can't really wear those to go out. So I'm kind of hamstrung from that perspective, and also beholden to this one company that I really hope is not discontinuing the one trouser that I'm comfortable wearing. But yeah. Rex says, it also gets pretty hot here in summer, and I see a lot of the sports bra, no shirt, and really fair. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just workout gear. That's fine. It's hot, guys are shirtless, so why not? It's not like anyone's gonna fall out of a sports bra. I don't see why it's an unacceptable outfit choice. Honestly, like, a lot of sports bras are effectively indistinguishable from like a cropped sleeveless top anyways in terms of their coverage. So yeah, that's just like, nominally it's called a bra, but it's just workout clothes, I think. And yeah, I would agree on that. I would tend not to wear a sports bra on its own to go out, but I don't know. I also, if it's hot out, I tend to cover myself more. Again, not out of modesty, but out of, I absolutely hate the way the sun feels against my skin. I really hate the way the sun feels against my skin. I feel like I'm on fire. It hurts. It physically pains me to let my skin be touched by sun. And so to that end, I do tend to cover up quite a bit if it's a hot day, if it's warm out, that kind of thing. I'm just like, no. No, thank you. I'm good. I'm gonna just put on linen. I like linen for that. I will wear like a long sleeved linen shirt or something like that, just to be a little less exposed to the sun. I also got a nice big straw hat last summer, and I'm really glad I did that. Oh, excuse me. Oh my god. My voice is getting a little hoarse. My voice is a Shetland pony at the moment. I'm sorry about that. That's better. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, I used to really struggle with hats. I still don't really feel like that much of a hat person. But I got myself a nice big straw hat last summer, so that I could go out a little bit more confidently when it's hot and sunny out, and it does seem to be helpful in that respect. But what I like about it is that it has like a little strap that goes under your chin, which A, holds the hat in place, but B, also, if you're not wearing the hat, you don't have to worry about like setting the hat down next to you on the bus, or forgetting it somewhere, or just having to carry it in your hand, because that's cumbersome. You just take the hat and you just tip it behind you, and it just sits at the back of your neck. Because it's got a little strap that will keep it from, going away. I don't know if that all sounds incredibly unfashionable, but the good news is that it's also very cute, and I think works with my, like, sort of semi-historical wardrobe quite well. So, yeah, happy with that. a very sound decision that I made back in the summer. Anyways, Als, hi, welcome in. Hello. B says, I used to cover less skin, but I also don't like my skin in the sun. Yeah, it just feels, I'm at risk for skin cancer, statistically speaking, so I take it seriously. And so you should. Sunscreen, also very important. Wear sunscreen. If you can. I have a lot of, I don't know about any other, especially neuroatypicals in the chat, but does anyone else have, like, major texture issues with a lot of sunscreens? Because I struggled for years with sunscreen because I'm like, I hate it. It leaves just the nastiest ickiness on my skin, and I find it really unpleasant, and there's very few that I've found to be, like, adequately doesn't make my skin feel extremely nasty. And when I've been looking for a picture of me in my little sun hat, I look like this. Did I say hi, Tals? Hi, Tals. It's lovely to see you. Welcome on in. Here's me in my little sun hat. There it is. Trying to exist. Also, I made this shirt, by the way. I made that shirt. It's the lighting is the camera's struggling with the lighting, but I made this shirt. It's really comfy and cute. Anyways, hello again. Yay! I hate the smell of it, says Rex. Sunscreen feels bad, says Bees. Yep. And it doesn't rub in enough to make you feel normal. Yep. It sits there on top of your skin. And I guess that's kind of the point of it. It's meant to be a barrier between your skin and the sun. But as a result, it just has this, like, extremely nasty feeling. And again, sometimes I think there's a bit of all or nothing messaging about sunscreen. Like, if you're wearing, say, if you're able to wear, like, a moisturizer that has, like, an SPF 15 of sunscreen in it, that's better than not wearing any sunscreen if you're going to exist in the sun. It's not as good as, like, an SPF 50, but it's better than not having any sun protection. So, hey, if that's what you're able to tolerate, then go for it. And maybe try reapplying, sort of more frequently throughout the day, or, like, before you're about to go out into the sun. But the other thing is that the one thing that I've discovered that is, like, fairly tolerable for me is it's one of the it is a Korean brand. I think it's Benton is the name of the brand, and they did, like, a sunscreen stick. And you just, swipe it across your face or whatever. There isn't a smell, which is fantastic. Love that for me. And, like, I can tell that I've got something on my skin, but normally, like, I wear moisturizer anyways, because otherwise, my skin gets, dry and probably looks worse. So I'm fairly serious about putting on moisturizer every day, so I can cope with having the feeling of something on my skin. I am picky about moisturizers, though, as well. But with that being said, this sunscreen does have, like, a bit of a skin feel, but it's not nearly as bad as, like, most commercial sunscreens, certainly in the UK. Again, like, it seems like there are other countries that seem to have gotten the memo on reformulating their sunscreens in ways that are effective but also don't feel nasty. Because I feel like most sunscreen formulations in, like, North America and here in the UK haven't really changed at all in, like, the last 30 years. And yeah, most of them suck. I'm sure they provide, like, effective protection, but they don't. They feel real bad. But the stick from Benton sunscreen I actually find is quite good. So I use that in the summertime. And to be honest, my other trick is just stay out of the sun. Just stay indoors. Don't go outside. Don't go out there. It's terrible. Why would you want to be outside? It's bad. No. Anyways. I think it's quite hilarious that the color I've been using to paint in trees today is actually the blue of my palette. But it works for the trees. I wear sunscreen on my tattoo, says Bees. That makes sense. Thick, white, yucky stuff, but tattoos are expensive. Tattoos are ding-dang expensive. I can't remember how much I paid for my last one, but it was a fairly significant chunk of change. But the artist is also a very, very good artist, so I was happy to pay for it. But, yes. Anyways. I've completely lost my train of thought again. Sun protection is important. Please look after your skin and bodies and whatnot. I thought we were going to be going into an ad, but no, we deferred the ad, so we have some time, so I can continue painting. Huzzah! Good stuff. But yeah, thankfully my tattoos generally are in places that don't really see a lot of sun exposure just because of where they are. Like, apart from this one that's on my hand that you see all the time, I've got one on my chest. I've got these on my forearms, like the inside of my forearms, which generally if I'm out in like the sunny weather, they're going to be covered by like a linen shirt or something. I've got one on the back of my right shoulder, and then I've got one sort of on my right upper arm. As well, which I don't know if you can see there's a tattoo there. That's about it from this angle. But I posted photos of it on my socials before in case you're curious. It is a design of my own of a stalk of lavender flowers for various reasons, and I'm awfully fond of it. So there you have it. I feel like that I don't know if the design of these trees is a bit more granular than I would want. I'm kind of wishing that I'd made them a little bit more loose, but well, so it goes, I guess. I've been doing the trees like this, so I kind of have to continue on in that way. Otherwise it'll look weird. Stupid artistic indecision. Beans and cheese. Am I right? Yes, of course I am. It's my stream. I'm always right. I keyed. Anyways, what's for dinner, chat? And is it delicious? I hope so. I'm doing... we call it mince on toast because it has a similar vibe to mince on toast, but it is in fact... The mince in this case is like... lentils. Like a mix of poi lentils and green lentils. With like a sort of French style, like tomatoey sauce. They are very nice. I'm a big fan of these little lentils. And they're really nice on toast. It is a very... we were talking about fiber earlier. It's a very good source of fiber, this meal. I think the whole thing is like 15 grams of fiber. So, yay. Fiber is like my favorite thing because I'm middle-aged. Anyways, I'm gonna sip my very cold tea. So delicious. Oh man, I'm so annoyed that you can't still get So Delicious. It was so good. They were so good. I know it's like, it's just such a stupid concern. But I miss those little, now that I've remembered that those little fruit snacks exist, I'm really annoyed at the fact that I'm not going to be able to get them. But never mind. I've completely covered... There was a tree back there that I've just completely covered by this new other tree. But I'm fine with that. You might be able to see some little bits of the original foliage from that number kind of poking out ever so slightly here and there, and that's, sometimes that be enough. Okay. Anyways, and I'm gonna need to make some more tree colors, I think, because I want there to be some more trees. I don't necessarily want like just a line of trees all the way across here, but I'm cool with like additional trees. Do I want a tree that's like a little warmer than these? Would that be acceptable, I wonder? I don't think I necessarily want a way more like yellowy tree, but I've just added a little bit of like the purple to this, and I'm wondering if that might be an interesting tree choice. Maybe not like the purple and brown on its own, but like mixed with this blue that's really, in this context, kind of a greenish brown. I don't know. I'm gonna give it a go. I'm gonna give it a go and see how I feel about it. Maybe pop a little tree here. What I want with this painting is I'm trying to employ like a fairly limited palette of colors. In part because it's fun, obviously, but also in part because I do want this as this piece is inspired by it, like a very old piece that I did years ago. And that piece I just used like a single color of ink, and I wanted to do a little bit more than that this time, but I also want this to feel like, a descendant of that piece, which, in case you missed it earlier, is this. So being a little bit more colorful than that, but still trying to keep it in a fairly narrow like range of colors, which is why I just did this. Like, I've moved we're not using like sort of red and orange and stuff here. We're kind of just going with like this somewhat more narrow range, and I've got the brown and black over here, which I might bring in for bits of Terry's design, or maybe just the black but not the brown, because the brown is kind of closer to like this range, which I would describe as the colors of Reese's Pieces. I wish you could get Reese's Pieces that were made of almond butter and also had better quality chocolate. I would love that for me. I think you can get like peanut butter cups that are made with almond butter instead of peanut butter, that are made by like a brand that isn't Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. And I did try some like chocolate almond butter cups once, and the conclusion I arrived at is that they were like sweeter than I remember and did not taste very good. And I don't know if that's just because, I think if memory serves, like the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup peanut butter is quite salty actually, so it balances well with the chocolate. But these ones I had that were like almond butter and milk chocolate, I don't think there was any salt in the almond butter. And as a consequence, all I could taste was like, this chocolate is incredibly sweet, and then there's something that has the texture of a nut butter in the middle of it. And I did not love that so much. It was not great. I think it was from one of those companies that's nominally like, we're healthy. So it was probably also trying to be a little bit healthy in terms of its formulation. And you know what? That's laudable. I like healthy food, as I think we've well established here. I do like healthy food. But with that being said, it's hard to make certain things healthy and also good, I think. That can at times be a little bit of a struggle. I'm gonna just pop this one ever so slightly in front of this guy. Oh no, this one's got a little bit of an interesting bend to it, but you know what? Hey, sometimes trees aren't always perfectly upstanding. Just like citizens, and that's fine. We're all just little animals trying our best, right? So like, don't worry about it. Just try to be a good person. I don't know. Anyways, the ads are going to be coming in just a minute. So I'm just going to wrap up this little happy little tree as best as I can. And then I'm going to pop us into a little wee breaky. And I hope that you have a good break while I'm away. Tal says, I feel like I have not been doing well with healthy eating. That, you know what, that's sometimes it'd be like that. That's fair. I think what not to do is don't feel bad about it. Like, fed is better than not fed, ultimately. Like, it is hard to meet all of the supposed goals that we're supposed to be attaining, and avoid this and avoid that, and do this and do that, and don't do this and don't do that, and well, this research shows this and this research shows that. It's a lot, and sometimes you just want a packet of crisps. Who cares? It's fine. You know, and if you are feeling like, man, I don't seem to have a lot of energy, and I feel like that might be down to the fact that I'm eating the wrong foods, maybe it is worth reevaluating and being like, okay, what nourishing stuff can I add to my current schedule of the things I'm enjoying? And look at it that way, as opposed to like, I'm going to cut out everything that's bad for you. That's not sustainable. It's not sustainable, and it will just make you depressed. But if you say, okay, what can I add that I know is going to make my body and my brain feel good? Like, for instance, I don't know. I've been enjoying a lot more almond butter lately. Because A, it's delicious and I really like it, but B, I recognize that there's a lot of good for you stuff in it. It's like a good food choice. So I've been enjoying that more, and it makes me feel good, and it's yummy and I like it. So that's a good choice for me. The ads are about to run, so I'm leaving now. BRB! I'll be back in a minute! Hey, ads are done. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for sticking around if you have. I do appreciate it. Hello, hello, hello again. I'm so sorry for all the little squeakity noises that my chair makes. Oh, beans, how embarrassing. But never mind. So it goes. Anyways. Tal's doing a little dance. You can't see, but I'm also doing a little dance. Maybe you can hear that I'm doing a little dance. I'm trying not to let the chair make any embarrassing noises. But, anywho. Okay, these trees have really veered into the territory of they're not really green anymore, but whatever. They are... They feel like a vibe to me, so, like, I'm cool with it. There we go. We've got some little bits where, like, there's a tree behind this tree, and now I have to figure out how to kind of fill in foliage in between foliage and that kind of thing. But I think that'll do okay. Yeah, I've lost my train of thought, but that's probably for the best. The train of thought has fully left the station. And the station has been axed by Richard Beeching. Is that a niche railway joke? That feels like an extremely niche railway joke. I apologize. Not quite profusely, but I apologize mildly for that. But only mildly. Anyways. Okay. I should keep painting. I should add some more of these trees. I don't know how many more trees we need. I'm gonna put some other. I feel like right now Terry doesn't really feel like an integrated part of the painting, but that's in part just because like, I haven't painted Terry in yet. I wanted to do the background first and then paint Terry. Excellent British rail history joke, says Tal. The hell yeah, thank you. I'm glad someone appreciates my niche and not very good humor. It's very appreciated. Alright, happy little trees. I haven't done a railway station or like a public transit, like metro type station painting in a little while. Part of the reason for that is just that well, it's not that I don't want to, but I want to very specifically, like, have visited the station that I'm painting, and there's a very specific station that I want to paint, and there's actually a couple of very specific stations that I want to paint, and I haven't had the chance to go, like, properly visit yet. And so I'm kind of stuck on that because I want to paint. I really, for some reason, I really like the look of Collier's Wood Station. in sort of towards the end of the southern end of the Northern Line in London, and then also which one is it? Clapham Common, I think. Work is done. Have a great evening. Have a great evening to you too, Rex. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I think it's Clapham Common Station. But let me just double check. I think it's also a station that scares me. Not Clam Common. Is it Clapham Common Station? Let's find out. Yeah, it is. Okay. The station, the station exterior is, like, genuinely quite cute. But also the, like, platform, terrifying. The platform is absolutely terrifying. But the front of the station's adorable, because it's got this little, if I can show you. So it's a little, the upstairs of it is basically just like a ticket barrier and like, and then down. There's not a lot to the exterior building. It's not like a big station, but it is a really cute, funky little shape, which I think is very, very fun. However, the interior is notable, extremely photographable for this reason. But the interior is notable as having this island platform. And this person has taken quite a lovely photo here, because you've got, they've managed to wait until there was a train on either side, like coming and going in either direction very symmetrically, which is very satisfying. And it is a very, I think, photographable interior for this reason. It's just this big sort of like circular tube of a room, and you're right down the middle of this island platform. Very satisfying, very photogenic. But with that being said, it is also a fairly narrow island platform, which is terrifying. So,
Shoppers.
Yeah. Anyways, that was train stations and stuff, because JD has brought friends. Hello, everyone, and welcome. And JD, thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, welcome. It's lovely to see you. Oh, hey there to you, too. Hello. How are you doing? It's lovely to see you, and welcome on in. Let me get you a shout out in the chat. Chopsticks, thank you very much for the follow. And if I can type correctly, I will do a shout out for JD and Binky, who's just rated us. I don't know why I sang that, but anyways, if you're not following JD, you can go do that over there. And hello also to Dawn. Hello, Mossy Moon. Hello, welcome in. T-Lane. Hello, welcome. I hope you are all well. Grey Pilgrim, welcome in. Welcome to Chopsticks. Panda Bunny, hello. Welcome, everyone. I hope you are well. It's lovely to see you, and thank you so much again for the raid. I really do appreciate it. As always, as you know, we are an art tax optional stream, so if there's anything that you want to share with us in terms of like what you were working on stream today, if you were working on stuff on stream, or you know, something from your socials or whatever, it's all good. You can whisper a link in my direction. But if you also just want to like chill, that is 100% fine as well. But what were you up to today? How was your stream? I should probably ask that first. How are you doing? It's wonderful to see you. Welcome. For anyone who's new here, I should introduce myself as well. Hello. My name is Twitch user Sammy Kelch, and this is Terry. He is a Forg mage, and he's off on a little adventure today. I'm actually doing a sort of a repaint / glow up / makeover of something that one of my very early stream arts, which was this from 5 years ago. So I decided to give the piece a bit of a glow up, and this is what it looks like so far. It's very, as you can see, it's very not complete, but we're working on it. Yeah, so that's what we're up to today. I'm a variety streamer. I do cozy art streams on Mondays and most Thursdays. I do cozy game streams on Fridays, and every once in a while on a Thursday if I'm feeling extra crispy or the game demands it. But we're painting today. And yeah. JD says, we did paper dolls! Oh, that's hell yeah! That's so cool! Designed by the wonderful Panda Bunny, we printed and colored them in and put accessories and clothes on them. That is so stinking cute! That is so stinking cute. What a lovely idea. I love that for you. That is absolutely delightful. And again, if there is anything that you want to share, whether that's the stuff you're working on today or something else, you're very welcome to whisper a link in my direction, but obviously no pressure for that. Just when you got here, we were talking about Clapham Common Station in London. Because I haven't actually ever had cause to like go to Clapham Common Station, but I'm familiar with it. And the building, I think, is super cute, and I really want to paint it. But I only paint stations I've been to, so I have to go to it. But the platform at Clapham Common Station, even though it's extremely photogenic, scares the absolute heck out of me. Because it is this super narrow island, which just seems very, very frightening. Frightening. But the building is so stinking cute. Maybe, you know what, there's a real temptation, therefore, to like get off at the station before this one and just walk, look at the outside, and then walk to the next station along. You know, like most tube stations in London, to be honest, if you're just going from one station to the next one along, they're not super far apart to walk through. So yeah, that is scary, says JD. Yeah, I'm nervous. Sent a link to the paper dolls we made today. Oh hell yeah, thank you very much indeed. Let me go grab that link from you, and we will take a look at what you were up to today. I'm very excited to see this because it sounds like an incredibly cute activity, an incredibly cute project. JD says that is a very cute station. It is, isn't it? It's really cute. I really like it. I've been trying to chronicle some like cute and just like architecturally interesting stations to me personally in paintings for a while now, and I just think that was really cute. I really like Maida Vale is one I've painted before, which is really, really cute. Park Royal. I also think it's very architecturally different from that one, but it's also a really cute one. And I think Chalk Farm is very cute. There's a lot of cute stations. But yeah, that's a fun one. Anyways, these are so cute. Oh my goodness. These are adorable. So this is what JD was working on today, coloring in these little paper dolls and getting their outfits together, and oh my goodness, look at them. Look at these absolute friend-shaped creatures and all the cute little outfits and accessories that they get to wear. Oh, I love them so much. The characters, Binky, Buns, and Panda, I love them. They're so stinking cute. They are so stinking cute. I love their little... Okay, if I had to pick a favorite thing of all of the wearables here, it's the hat. The little hat. That is so adorable. Okay, no, I just also noticed that there's a tiny, they can wear a tiny bandana. That is so cute. That is so stinking cute. I love these. I love their little outfits. I love this little bird on their head. That's adorable. Oh, they look like they're gonna be having a very fun time. I feel like these are some like go on some shenanigans outfits they've got going, and also crucially a cup of tea. These are so stinking cute. Thank you so much for sharing these with us. It's a quail. Oh my goodness gracious, Panda Bunny, you should be very proud. JD is right, and you are an incredible artist. These are delightful. Let me get another shout out for JD in the chat also for sharing their handiwork. I'm working on these. Absolutely. Super stinking cute. Hell yeah. Anyways. So we've just been painting in happy little trees. That's all we've gotten up to today. But I've had a lot of fun doing it. JD says there's a lot more to color, but my hand was hurting. That is so valid and so fair and so incredibly relatable. I tend to keep my art streams fairly short. We usually go for, somewhere between like 2.5 to not quite 3 hours, because otherwise if I'm actively painting for more than like 1.5 to 2 hours at a time, the repetitive strain doth sink in, and it's like, you have to stop. You have to stop what you're doing right now, or you will pay for it handsomely. And I don't want to have to pay because I'm a cheapskate, so, Delicious. Anyways, in 4.5 hours. Oh, JD, your poor little handies. Your poor little hands. This has prompted me to do a little bit of of stretchage of the hands and wrists. So I'm doing a little wrist stretch here now. Because I haven't done that in a little bit. I don't normally do a lot of like hand stretches and wrist stretches and stuff on stream, but I really ought to. I try and do it like before I'm about to do labor intensive hand work, but I'm not great with it, and I've also always kind of had bad joints when it comes to my wrists and stuff, so oh, it hurts. Oh, okay, that hurts. Oh no. I'm gonna paint for a little longer though. I shall. I'm okay. And at least my dinner isn't super labor intensive, because the a lot of it has already been prepared, which is always nice for me, so makes things a little bit easier. All right. I think what I want to do now is get some little patches of like fungi and stuff. I think I'm going to use our purple for this. I think I'll use our purple for this, and maybe, do I want to add a little yellow to it? What would happen if I added a little yellow to it, I wonder? I don't want to use just yellow because it's gonna not look good. But anyways, yeah, we started this painting some time ago, but we've just been working on getting some additional happy little elements into the landscape, and it looks super weird because we haven't painted Terry at all, but we are trusting the process as best as we can, and hoping for the best. In case anyone's wondering, by the way, this palette that we're working with here is it is like a representative rainbow of colors that I have all blended with one like unifying sort of what is known in the business as like a mother color, or sometimes I'll call it like the anchor. And that anchor in this case is raw umber, so everything is kind of brownish in this palette, which I find is real cute and fun. It's a very calming palette, I think. It reminds me of like a frog and toad. I think it gives like a frog and toad vibe, or it can give a frog and toad vibe. And in fact, here's something I painted with it that features a toad. This is Craig. Craig is a toad wizard. And here he is in his little wizard's cottage. This was a lot of fun to paint. And also I love Craig, and I hope that you do too. But yeah. I have so many things that I want to paint and not enough time to paint like any / all of them, which just that feels like a permanent mood, you know what I mean? But like for real. Okay, these are further away, so they're small. And these are closer up, so they're big. These are going to be mushies. These are going to be little mushrooms, so I'm going to have to put little sort of skinny stalks on them so that you can tell that they're mushies and not just abstract blobs. I mean, they could be abstract blobs too, but again, I'm kind of working from at least but not a direct recreation of, but inspired by this piece, and there are some little mushrooms on the ground in that piece, and I'm going to do some ferns or grass and stuff kind of in the fore as well to go with that. I'm just giving. I feel like at this point I'm just giving like freckles to the ground, which is very fun. I lurks for dinners and screen break. Thank you for the warm welcome and the paper doll love, says JD. Of course, and thank you again for the raid. I really appreciate it. Thank you for choosing us as a place to land, and I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Thank you. And welcome again to everyone who came in on the raid. It's lovely to see you all. Okay. Maybe just some little kind of mid-sized babbies here. There we go. And I don't want to overdo it, because I'd like to get some little patches of mushies in other colors as well. Like maybe do a second color, but I haven't decided what color it wants to be. Green I feel like isn't really the vibe for like a mushroom. It's kind of more of a it's more in the vicinity of brown. Maybe if I just add more yellow to this, so it's more sort of in like a yellowish vicinity, like that could maybe work. That could maybe work. I could do that. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna just add like a ton more yellow to this and see how that looks. And if it looks bad, we don't have to use it. That is the joy and the magic of these things, is that like if I decide to do something and then I subsequently decide that I don't like the way it looks, I can just ignore that and it's fine. We're not I like planning ahead for a lot of things, and then there are certain things where I'm like, I'm cool with just kind of winging it in this case. And this, I think, is one of those cases where I'm good with winging. I like this color also. I think I'm going to bring it in so you can see this color slaps. It's very nice. That's a good color. But yeah, one of the things that's quite fun about a lot of these paints is that I did try and choose, not like exclusively and not fully across the board, but I did try and choose colors that that granulate when you use them with like quite a lot of water, and when you mix together like either one granulating and one non-granulating pigment, or two granulating pigments together, and then you do like a quite wet wash, you end up in situations where you get like the interesting sort of color separations here, where some of the pigments will kind of sit on top of the water and other ones will kind of sink. And that can give you some really interesting like color shift and just sort of give your color a little bit more dimension, rather than being like a flat sort of monocolor. And that can be a fun effect to play with, and it is one that I do enjoy playing with as well. So quite a lot, actually. I use a lot of granulating pigments in my work. You can see it also in like this piece with Craig here. I think especially if you look at the window here and the sort of just abstract gradient that I put outside, you can very much see the way that sort of the ultramarine has kind of floated on top of the umber. That gives us this quite interesting sort of textural effect, which worked really well here as like just an abstract representation of things are happening outside, but I don't want to render them in like full detail because I don't want you to pay attention to the outside of the window as much as the interior of the piece. I just want you to be aware of the fact that there's a window there, that kind of thing. Bees says, I think Daniel Smith's rose of ultramarine is just ultramarine and quinacridone rose. The blue sinks into the paper and the rose floats. The textures are so pretty. I have not used this paint before. You're sending me on a research journey, Bees. I needs to knows. If this is, I'm assuming this will be available at like my usual retailer, which should tell me what pigments are in. Oh my god, I've just seen the swatch of it on, so this is, oh y'all, this is real pretty. Oh no, this is dangerous knowledge. This is extremely dangerous knowledge. I don't need more paint and I don't have any money. But, on the other hand, look at this swatch. That is fit. That is very fit. I want to see if the website tells me what the pigment numbers are. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. PB29 and PV19. Yes. Because if you... I'm gonna switch back to art camera, but I'm gonna look up. Because I think, yeah, PB29 I think is, ultramarine, but what's PV19? Is that Quinn Violet? I don't know. It's quinacridone rose and or quinacridone violet. Oh, it's so pretty. It is so pretty. I do actually, the this paint here is a blend of this is a blend of raw umber and quin violet, and I do just even on its own, like quinacridone violet is very pretty. It's a very interesting color. I very like it in combination with ultramarine. I mean, I guess I could conceivably also blend it myself, but I do appreciate a convenience mixture that I don't have to self-blend. Yippee! I guess you can actually see, if you look at my PNG tuber over here as well, I used a lot of blends of different pigments to achieve the tones that I've got going on there. Mostly, I think ultramarine blue, Viridian, which is a green, and or was it? It might have been French ultramarine. Actually, I can't remember. Either ultramarine or French ultramarine, Viridian, and then also magenta, to get this vibe. I hope you like it. Those paints are fun to work with. My palette of many moons, because I was trying to recreate something similar to actually another Daniel Smith sort of conveniently mixed paint that's real pretty called Moonglow. But Moonglow contains a pigment, crucially, that is not, it's not light fast, actually. So, not that any of my paintings hang out in the sun, but especially if it's something that I'm going to, like, potentially, like, give or sell or that kind of thing, I don't want it to, if they hang it up, I don't want, like, the red part of the painting to basically have disappeared after a year and it just looks like teal. That's not what I'm after. So I do tend to try and look for paints that have a really good light fastness rating. Which is a shame, because there are some incredibly beautiful colors that are what is known as fugitive, which means that they fly away from you. Paint is fugit, as they say. Anyways, but just that the pigment won't be as strong, or in some cases, like, super faded after a period of time in the sun. Bees says, I hate color mixing for real paintings because I always mix up way too much or not enough, and I have to try to recreate it halfway through, but I love playing with colors. The number of times I'm just like, oh, well, I've run out of this paint, now I have to try and, like, remix it. Oh, no. It's too real. Like, it's so true. And it happens to be a lot also. For sure. And it is a little bit of a pain in the backside. In fact. So, yeah. Relatable. Okay. Where else do I want little doot-doots? Maybe some, like, here. Lightly obscured by artery. Okay, maybe there's like a blank space here. I wonder if I can kind of fill that in. Oh man, I just had like a really strong wash of deja vu there for unknown reasons. Deja vu is such a weird phenomenon. There was a period of time where I was getting like intense deja vu very frequently, and it was really freaky. And I was like, oh man, have I been cursed have I been hit with the like the dodgeball of clairvoyance or something? But no, it's just, you know, your brain recognizes patterns, and every once in a while it's just sort of like, oh. And also I just have, like, if I did have, like, the dodgeball of clairvoyance, it's just for, like, the dumbest stuff. Like, oh, I just got a deja vu about, you know, like, painting some little fungi into a little forest scene. Like, that's stupid. That's unhelpful. A glitch in the Matrix, says Tals. Ah, jeez. Listen, I don't know. Maybe we are all living in a big Matrix. And one day we wake up and they've decided to vastly alter the game, and we're in Animal Crossing. Man, I wish I was in Animal Crossing. That seems like a better time. I had some visitors. I visited my Animal Crossing island yesterday, and I had some visitors to my island. Alice was visiting, who is like, she's a koala. She was really cute. And also Robin, who was a bird, and I don't know anything else about them, but I was very excited to see Robin because I've been drawing and painting a lot of robins lately. There are so many cool species of robin, and I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to take you on a journey with me to discover more of them. So you'd better enjoy that, or else I'll feel sad. Oh, beans. Anyways, okay, I'm gonna pop some teeny tiny little stalks onto some of these, so they feel a little bit more mushy. But some of them are so tiny, it's gonna be a struggle. Like, I think these ones all the way back here are basically just, they can just be little dudes, but then we can add little stocky bits into the ones that are a little bit nearer to us, I think. Like this can have a proper little stalk, and this can just have a little stick. Anyways, I'm just using the same color for all of these stalks because I don't want to have to mix up another color. Yay! Joe, hello! Late hi, this is cute. I'm glad you're here. We're probably not going to go on too much longer, but I'm glad you could make it for parts of it. It's very nice to see you, as always. And for anyone who is here, for anyone who's here for the first time, here's something you should know about my schedule. I stream Friday mornings. And specifically, at the moment, we are doing a little playthrough of a little game you might have heard of called Silk Song. So we'll be continuing that tomorrow. I don't remember. Oh, maybe I do remember. Yeah, I do remember where we are in Silk Song. We finished a boss fight last time that made me feel some emotions, and then I died trying to farm some money. So that was fun. We found a vendor who has a whole bunch of very expensive wares that I really want to buy some of their very expensive wares, but their wares are very expensive. So, that might, we might have to spend a little bit of time trying to make some money. But that's okay. And then, when we've made some money, then we can buy all the things, and then we can move on to another area, because we've also unlocked another area of the map that we get to go visit, so I'm looking forward to that. But I think I'm going to call it there for today, because we're getting close to dinner time, and I have to go make stuff. This painting feels ever so slightly more done than it did last time. I feel like there's more stuff that I want to, like, change now that I've added bits to it. Like, specifically, I feel like this hill needs to be a shade or two darker. And this area in general needs some more stuff. I'm going to add some, like, ferns and grass and stuff and blah, blah, blah. I was lurking but had work and then needed food. That's very fair. Yeah, you don't have to, Joe, you do not have to apologize for being late. I don't expect anyone to be present at all, let alone, like, be on time. I'm just happy to see you at all when you are able to make it. It's all good. This is the yeah. Let's take a look. Okay, so this is the first painting that I ever did of Terry the Forg Mage. So we are remastering it effectively into a piece that's a bit more up to speed with my contemporary art style, or one of my contemporary art styles. Do I have an art style? I don't know. I just paint stuff. I try. Anyways, but yeah, I'm gonna see if there is someone online that we can do a little rainy raid on, because I gotta head out and eat a food. So let me see if there's someone that perchance I have not said hello to in a little while. And there is. So I'm gonna send us on to a raid. Much love to you too, Joe, and I will pass on your sentiments to the lovely moderator / spouse as well. I'm hoping that this person isn't just about to finish. No, they started 5 minutes ago. Okay, perfect time. Perfect timing. They've been streaming for 5 minutes. And if you're not familiar, they're very, very cool. So Let me pop a generic raid message in the chat if I can. It's being a little janky, but that's okay. And I'm going to pop some kiwis into the raid message because I love kiwis. I think they are heckin' cute birds. So there's some birds for you. I hope you like them. And thank you so much for watching, for hanging out, and thank you again to the folks who raided today, who came in on the raids, who stuck around, or whatever. It's all good. Thank you, everybody. You're all breathtaking. I'll be back tomorrow morning doing something different from what I did today, which is I'm going to be playing Silk Song. But in the meantime, have a lovely evening, and thank you so much for hanging out. Good night, and good luck.